Hello. I want to finish off by saying make sure we're cutting away from the body. If I didn't make that very clear before, and using a claw. Using a claw prevents you chopping off any fingers and holds your whatever you are cutting, fruit or vegetables, still, and it's a protection so you do not cut yourself. You see how I can cut and I will not be cutting off any skin. It's to hold the fruit or vegetable in place, and also it helps guide your knife to where it needs to cut. Precision. And that's definitely what we care about. Make sure that your knife is not left on the edge, because there can be many times we have seen from the industry where you can accidentally hit the table and the knife flies off. So for safety measures, when you're not using the knife, it should be well in the middle of the table, away from the edge. It's critical and it's very important. And home is different than a commercial kitchen, because a commercial kitchen is really busy. Everyone's probably moving around. They might have their headphones in when they're practicing. They're not aware of all their surroundings, and you have to make sure you are. So you are using a great safety measure when you're handling things like walking around with a knife. It's always supposed to be face down, away from your body. The damp towel is another safety thing, but we already talked about that. It keeps your board from moving and sliding, and it's better control for you cutting. Never use a knife cutting a can, anything sharp, metal, because it can slip. You can cut off something with you. It can fly somewhere else. We have can openers for that. Use the items efficiently for what they supposed to be used for. Okay. Also, with that being said, make sure that you're not using a dull knife, because if you use a dull knife, it's a safety hazard, because you have to push down harder to make the cut, and again, it can slip out your fingers, and the cut board can cause the cut board to slide, and it will not. It's a safety measure, so make sure your knives are sharpened, ready to use. You can use a dry towel to wipe off the knives or wipe off your hands. Like I had said before, this is a dry towel, and also keep extra dry towels of this and wet towels I don't call beside me, so I can use it when I am in the midst of cutting items. We do not want any casualties or accidents in the midst of us doing what we need to do in the kitchen. Especially because trying to juggle a bunch of things, this cuts down less of juggling everything. When you have mise en place, everything close to you, and handle it so the cutting can go efficiently. There is different knives that we have learned about. Like I said, a boning knife, my version is here. A boning knife is usually used for separate raw meat, separating raw meat from the bone. It's very flexible blade, and it's efficient. It's different than a slicer, which is like a utility knife. It slices cooking meat. The blade is usually like 14 inches. The cleaver is a little thicker. Now I wish I had that. I did one point in time. I don't know what I did with it, but it's a thick blade. It's like a rectangle, and it's usually a flexible blade. It's usually a heavy rectangle and a chop screw bone, and heavy duty. A Satuka, am I saying it right? That is usually used, it's a flatter blade and has dividends. It's similar to this blade, but right here is where the dividends are, and that's used for helping the food detach from the blade. It's easier. And it helps give you a comfortable and well-balanced grip. The chef's knife, French knife, is different type, because the Satuka is a Japanese chef knife. And there's a chef French knife. Again, I don't have that, but it's similar to this one. It has a curve. It helps with the curve rocky motion that you. It really helps. This one's dull, but this is what we would not use for in a commercial kitchen. But safety. This is just for an instructional video for what I do have on call. It's also a chef's knife is also used for mincing and chopping. It's usually like 8 to 14 inches, a long blade. and tapers the tip. A lot I seen in one video where a chef was using the tip to cut herbs. That was interesting. I never seen that before. It was interesting. It's also I want to talk about the serrated knife, which is cutting bread actually, and I think that's what this one is. I think I said this was a meat knife. I'm gonna go back on record saying that this is a serrated knife. Helps cutting bread and cakes. If I'm saying that right. You can use it like a saw-like bread. The saw motion. Okay. A paring knife is usually used for cutting fruits and vegetables. The handle with the thumb, and you pull a knife towards you. A steak knife is usually used for cutting loins and steak cuts, which I believe this is actually what this was. I'm gonna have to redo that video. I was wrong with that. They also have clam knives, which is usually blunt cut, point, and a shuck knife, which is short edge, and the clam knife is blunt point. They have oyster knives too. I've never heard of it until now, but it's good knowing about it. It's a tip and helps shuck oysters. A tourne helps cutting up the garnishes, like I said with that chef. Did I went too much? I'm sorry.